this beautiful woman, beautiful, beautiful woman. And she was asking me my advice. And she said, do you think I should go for this? Do you think I should go for my this master's, doctorate, all of this other type of stuff? And I said, if you want to. Now I want to get your advice. Do you think I should go for this? I said, if you want to. And it's largely because you have to do an inventory of your life to try to figure out whether or not it's going to be a value add. All right. And what do I mean by a value add? Well, let's talk about it and let's hear a story.
I know this is a really difficult moment for so many different types of people, and that this moment isn't going to last forever, but it is incredibly disheartening to have spent the last 17 years of my life hustling and grinding to be in higher education and STEM fields like science and neuroscience, and be a freshly minted PhD with my doctorate in neuroscience, and still struggle so much to not only find a job, but find one that pays a livable wage. What do you mean I have the highest educational degree that you can get in the entire world, something that only 2% of people in the world have, and I'm struggling to find a job that pays more than a fast food manager position?
Now, look at what we see on our screen, ladies and gentlemen. She's putting a comparison to what she would be making versus what a fast food manager makes. Okay. What she would be making versus what a fast food manager makes. She said a fast food manager varies, and it really does vary, especially depending on what state you're in. Go over to California, you'll be booming on the fast food manager side. Varies between 54 and 76K. This is what she put up. Academic postdoc. I'm going to deep dive into the details in a minute. Academic postdoc, 59 to 63. 17 years into her field of study. All right. 17 years into her field of study. And she's going to run down all of her accolades and accomplishments and all of that stuff. So let's continue.
If you factor in the time that I took to do my bachelor's degree, then work for 5.5 years after the bachelor's degree doing like highly technical research jobs, research associate doing stereotaxic, cranial windowing surgeries, to advance, research about how our visual system processes information, managing an entire research laboratory at the VA Puget Sound, where I did like literally every aspect of the research, budgeting, training people, hiring people, conducting the research, writing, grant writing. Like I had 4 published manuscripts from that one experience. Then a 5-year doctorate program where I was working truly like 60 hours a week, sometimes a lot more, just because the workload was so intense, and the pay was so little. So I also went into further debt to do that. And my grad student experience was very successful, objectively. If you look at my resume, it's like first person in the history of my department to secure over $300,000 in fellowships and research grants and external funding. Co-founded a nonprofit to support underrepresented folks into STEM fields. Early career awards, 5 published manuscripts. Like I was busy. What I find so disheartening about this conversation too is that people will say, oh, well, just don't go into research, don't go into science, don't go into higher education if you want to be rich. That shouldn't be the point. We should not only let class privileged people advance scientific discovery. We can see how horrific that has been for scientific discovery up until this point. Class privileged people should not be the only ones able to get an education and advance our fields.
What does she mean by class privileged people shouldn't be the only ones to get an education and advance her fields? What does that mean? She says these people that's in these higher classes should not be the ones that be able to get an education and advance in these fields. What does that mean? It's a sentiment that I actually carry, that I'm an advocate for, right? Meaning, she is describing and talking about all of the student loan debt that she's taken on, the little bit of pay that she's made, the little bit of pay that she will make. A lot of what she's talking about and what she got involved in is research specific. It is not an actual hands-on, do something, fixing a spine, becoming a doctor, because there's a lot of doctorate programs, but not actual real value to be had as far as what they are physically doing to then generate revenue in this capitalistic society. And so I am a heavy advocate for what? Only be able to take out student loans if you are going into a specific field that is going to yield a great financial result as a result of it, right? Meaning that if you are going to be an AI machine scientist or prompt engineer or civil engineer, or if you're going to become a neurosurgeon or something like that, right? And you're going to generate a lot of revenue, that means your ability to pay back your loan would be there. That means you can take out student loans. I believe that student loans should be vetted in the same way that we vet for you to get a mortgage, the same way we vet for you to get a car, the same way that we vet for you to be able to pull out money and get a HELOC. It needs to be evaluated based off of your ability to pay it back. Otherwise, if you decide to go into the arts, if you decide to go into research studies, you decide you want to become a professor, a teacher, you decide that you want to go into basket weaving degree, you should be able to pay for that yourself. Meaning that then it would become specific to people that have the ability to spend that type of money, to spend 30, 40, $50,000 a year or semester, depending on whether you're in state or out of state, whether you go to the public or private college. You should have to pay for certain things, which would then make it only available to a certain demographic that is either saved up or can afford to pay for that to go to college. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can't take out $1 million, and I'm being, figuratively speaking. You can't take out 100,000, 200,000, $300,000 in debt because she's a very intelligent person. You can tell that she's incredibly intelligent. The problem is that if you're that intelligent to be able to get through these programs and communicate as effectively that you're communicating to us, and me as a C student, I'm smart enough to actually look and say, duh, I'm going to go into something that will make me money. Bing. So you smart enough to get through these programs. You're smart enough to be able to talk to us at a high level, but you're not smart enough and wise enough to be able to do your research and realize that when you come out of these programs, you're only going to be making $60,000 a year to be a teacher at a college. I don't understand these women. I don't understand women. It's like y'all don't have no guidance. You know, they say people are book smart, but they're not street smart. It's like they don't have that other thing. They don't have that other thing, you know? It's like, yeah, I know that this is your passion. I know that you really care for this. I know y'all love school. I know people that go to school just to go to school. I know people. Yeah, how many of y'all have ever met that girl? Oh, she's going back to school to get her fifth bachelorette and doctors and masters and then they leave with their and it only impressed other women that don't know that you really broke. That's all it do. It impresses, or you go back to school just because you don't feel like paying off your student loan and you don't want them to start requiring for you to pay off your student loan. And so in order to continue to get a deferment, you got to register for a minimum amount of credits. And so it's a lot of people, honestly, that go to school just to be going to school. They are lifetime students and they just love sitting in a classroom, or they feel like they have to sit in the classroom, or they think that getting these doctorate and postdoctorate, and they think that that's supposed to mean something. And at the end of the day, you know what guys in the chat is saying? But can she cook though? Can she throw it back for a real one? That only impress people that don't know no better. Oh, she's so smart. Oh, but I'm saying, but can you cook though? You know, I used to. We listen, ladies. I know y'all don't do it for us, but ultimately you got to try to marry us. We're smart, but at our core, we're Neanderthals. Ooh, fire! I was showing my daughter this weekend. I was seriously. I was talking to Leslie because I got a new deck built in the back of my house, right? And when I got a new deck built, I was talking to my neighbor because we like Tim the Two Man Taylor. And so he comes and he looks over the yard. Anton, nice deck. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I looks like, and now he thinking about going to get a deck. I said, I was talking to my daughter. We came out the house. She said, Dad, our lawn is slapping. I said, yeah. I said, you see them right there? It was guy next door, and one straight down the street. They was all cutting their lawns just because my lawn had just recently got cut. At our core, we have lawn wars. At our core, we trying to see who got the best deck. Oh, I see you got your house power wash this weekend. I clean my gutters, he clean his gutters. He clean his gutters, I clean my roof. Like, we're Neanderthals at the end of the day, as far as like our basic instinct to improve, have a good life, and be chilling. I'm telling you, that's who we are at the end of the day. We are very basic creatures. Y'all are doing this for y'all, and y'all doing it for other women, and in a lot of instances, because y'all are getting into these things and y'all getting all of these advanced degrees, and you're willing to spend $400,000 for nothing. Also, a guy won't marry you because he ain't trying to take on that debt and he ain't trying to inherit that. Facts, Bull City. Would you rather me tell you about my deck, or would you rather me telling you about some hoes on the street, or how we was in the streets making it rain for a real one? See, listen, y'all should appreciate these conversations. Y'all should appreciate these conversations. These are wholesome American man conversations. And then you have this.
That's ridiculous logic. And nobody's trying to get rich off of science, but like a livable wage, one that says, hey, you can afford to live in the city that you are working. You can afford to pay off some of your student loans that you had to take out of necessity to get to this point. And you might have a little bit extra to be able to support your aging family or your children. That should not be a ridiculous ask. There's a big difference between being a millionaire and being rich and just affording the cost of living. And it makes me so sad too, because although I have really been an advocate for getting more people into the sciences and STEM fields, especially Black and Indigenous people with intersecting marginalized identities, and now I feel like I'm being put in this really interesting position where I don't even know if I want to.
I don't even know what she's talking about. I'm going to be honest with you.
For getting more people into the sciences and STEM fields, especially Black and Indigenous people with intersecting marginalized identities. And now I feel like I'm being put in this really interesting position where I don't even know if I want to advocate for people to take this path. If the average cost of college education in state is approaching $30,000 a year, who can afford that? Literally, who is affording education in this country? It's not everybody, and it's certainly not those on the margins of the margins. So I feel very torn about not only advancing and continuing on this career path, but then advocating for other people to do the same. Even though science has been my passion from day one, science has been something that I felt called to do. But unfortunately, people with class privilege and people who are debt-free get to have the ability to explore that passion more than those who don't. Last thing.
You know why people that are really smart, you know why women talk like that? Like, they talk really fast. It's, advocate for marginalized indigenous peoples of other than what it's still, because their brain is working really fast and they're trying to hurry up and get their words out before the end of the video or before they 3 minutes is up. And so they can see they 3 minutes coming up on the screen while they record, and they trying to hurry up and get their words out. I'm going to advocate for indigenous people getting into the sciences and I'm telling you the truth.
I'll say that's really disheartening is just watching how capitalism is just keeping people just so stuck in survival mode, just trying to get by the next, day, week, month, year, and preventing people from having the capacity, the time, not only just to live, but also to fight back against so many injustices that are happening around our country and around the world. So it's clearly by design, right?
Now it's all, look, now, as intelligent as she is, as cute as she is, what is this? I don't even know what those countries up there are. Free Palestine, Landback movement, reparations and systematic change, trans rights and protections, imperialism and global anti-blackness. What? Poverty and homelessness, women's rights, refugee and BIPOC immigrants, LGBTQ plus rights, global South exploitation. Is these the type of women that y'all going out on dates with, and they asking y'all what's your stance on trans rights and protections, reparations, and systematic change Landback movement? Hey, you trying to go to the game or what? You trying to Netflix and chill or what? Hey, can you cook? What can you cook? That's how basic my conversation is. Word. Yes, and there's such injustices across the world with BIPOC and the food, no more food movement and all that. Like, yeah, word. All right. So you trying to come back to the crib or what? We don't care. We don't care. After all of your intelligence movement and after all of this extra, guess what? You still broke. You still got to put the fries in the bag. And let me also say this, and we're going to get into the real part of the show. We're going to start the show off right. Let me also say this. Y'all think that just because y'all are super educated that you don't have to put the fries in the bag or that you're too good to put the fries in the bag. I'll tell you this, and I've said it 1,000 times and I stand on it. I am not too good to get a job. I am not too good to go and put the fries in the bag. If the fries in the bag give me the bag that be allowed for me to be able to take care of my family, I'll do whatever I got to do. DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, extra job, putting the shelves up at Home Depot at night. I don't have no pride when it comes to being able to provide for myself. And this is probably one of the curses that come along with people that get overly educated because they don't believe that they qualify or that they're overqualified to do regular jobs to be able to put food on the table. And this is the beauty in being a man and why we always gonna beat y'all every single time, because we understand that there is no pride when it comes to doing what you got to do to feed your family. And y'all would rather run up debt and be forever in debt, but while being super intelligent, instead of doing what you got to do and making logical decisions, because God did not put you on this earth to follow your passion. He put you on this earth to take care of his business. Absolutely, she a feminist. You can see it right there. Women's rights, LGBTQ rights, global South exploitation, refugee and BIPOC immigrants, imperialism, and global anti-blackness. Yeah, she a blackity black feminist, 100%. Complaining about not being able to find a job because it's only going to pay her $50,000 a year. At the end of the day, you still going to only be with your overly educated self, you're still only going to make $50,000 a year. Make sure you hit a like for the app. Let this be a lesson, y'all. Let this be a lesson. You can't go against what God has ordained to be true. Shout out to the patriarchy. Shout out to the patriarchy. And I'm not saying that education is a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that make sure you put the fries in the bag.